Have you ever felt like someone died and you didn't know who did it? Did it happen to you 6 times over? Then this episode is for you, where we discuss mystery and noir movies this week on The Verdict. Welcome to The Verdict. I'm Elizabeth Pegram.
And I'm Taylor Moore.
And I'm Marissa England.
Everyone knows that games turned into movies are generally horrible. But this classic board games adaptation is the true exception. In 1985, Jonathan Lynn directed the classic mystery film Clue. Clue is full of suspense with a healthy dose of nuance and comedy, with genius performances from Madeline Kahn, Christopher Lloyd, Eileen Brennan, and the amazing Tim Curry. Although this movie failed at the box office, the film has grown such a cult following, including myself. I am so excited to discuss my favorite movie of all time, Clue.
Every person in this room has the perfect motive.
Stand back!
For murder.
What do you mean? Murder.
But only one of these suspects is the murderer. Is it the timid Mr. Green?
Why are you screaming? Because I'm frightened of what? Screaming!
Or the militant Colonel Mustard?
If I was the killer, I would kill you next. Huh? Said F.
Mrs. White, who helped her husband on his way.
Well, it's a matter of life after death. Now that he's dead, I have a life.
Miss Scarlet, who's helped many men along the way.
Practice makes perfect. Huh.
Professor Plum, who's looking for a way.
I'm looking.
Mrs. Peacock.
I have absolutely no idea what we're doing here, but I am determined to enjoy myself.
Or did the butler do it?
No.
Paramount Pictures invites you to an evening of mystery.
Let us out!
Murder.
This is getting quite serious.
And madness. In the movie that makes a scene of the crime.
So hold it!
Clue. It's not just a game anymore.
Okay, so I believe that it was Jonathan Lynn in the theater with the machine gun because he killed this project.
Ugh.
Okay, now I've realized that this joke, low-key, might have been a little off color because, you know, shootings. But, you know, whatever. Y'all get the joke because the board game, right?
I slightly disagree, mostly because I've never played the board game, nor have I seen the movie. And to be honest, I feel like it's a little over-satirical.
Oh.
That's okay. You are incorrect. How have you never played the game?
I am not incorrect. It's an opinion.
This is my first of all, it's my favorite board game, and if anybody knows me, I love board games. And if anybody else knows me, they know I love this movie. So you're not going to come for the game or the movie.
I will give you every game that my mother has gotten me because she assumed that I liked it.
Please do.
You're just going to have 6 sets of Clue.
Okay, first of all, I will say there's a lot of satire in it, but that's kind of the point of the movie. I mean, when you think Clue, you cannot think that there is a good way to like make this into a movie. So you just have to make it funny. And honestly, that's what I love most about this movie is because it takes, I don't like comedy movies, I have to say. It's not my genre. I love anything but. Well, except for romance. But that's a different thing. But whoa, this is the same thing. I don't know what it is.
And then there's just me that's like the awkward girl in the corner that y'all put the Dune sign on and just kick me.
Well, that's okay. I'm not too, I mean, like, I'm familiar enough with Clue. Like, it's just there's a whole lot of names throughout that I always get everybody a little bit confused. And it shouldn't be because Colonel Mustard, you know, is normally wearing yellow and stuff like that. Like,
I do gotta say, in the movie, they don't really dress to their colors.
Right, yeah.
Miss Scarlet's in a blue dress the whole time. So.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense. Yeah, but it's got Tim Curry in it, so I'm here for Tim Curry.
I'm always here for Tim Curry.
Absolutely. And
He's
then there's
never done wrong.
There's the 3 endings, which I, was definitely really interesting. interesting because I forgot it even had 3 different endings. I was wondering, how does this movie end again? And apparently they didn't even know. They're like, here's 3 different ones. You decide. I think I like the last one though because I don't really remember the other 2 as much. One of them like involved like Scarlett being the murderer, didn't it?
Yeah, she and Yvette were like in cahoots.
Yeah. I don't remember the other one.
Peacock.
Yeah, Peacock was the murderer.
The one
She did
that
all of them in that one.
very oddly enough looks like one of the professors we have here.
No.
We may not need to get into that. I don't know.
Well, I like the C ending better when it kind of just everybody's the killer because that's kind of what we want to think anyway. Because you know the whole movie, I'm like, who's it gonna be? It's just all these stuff keep happening. There's all these people and nobody knows what's going on. Oh, so everybody's killed at least one person, or not everybody, but most of everybody except Mr. Green, the FBI agent.
He ended up killing Wadsworth in the end. So.
Oh, okay, everybody killed somebody. So.
Yeah, but that was justified.
No,
Wadsworth was holding a gun to him.
He was doing
his
job.
just like.
So like, from my understanding, like I do understand like it's based off a board game and stuff like that. So you can only do so much as far as plot is concerned.
Yeah.
But at the very same time, I did not need 15 minutes of him walking through what happened because I was like, what? Because like the whole crowd is just like get on with it, and I'm like. They're so aware of this. Like, I'm just watching this. Like, I understand, like, it's supposed to be a comedy movie, but, like, he's literally just running back and forth. I'm like, we were all there, sir. We know what happened.
But that's the fun of the movie, and that's why it's satire, because it keeps making fun of itself. Like, they know, like
there's 3
that's my
separate
favorite
endings.
part of the movie because it just keeps going back and forth and back and forth. That's so funny.
Because you have
Just let me break it down for you real quick.
sorry, but like you have
And it's not real quick. To make a long story short.
like you have the 7 clueless white people, which is a satire in of itself. Then you have him taking 15 minutes to explain everything that they were already there for, and then you have them all screaming for no reason for half the movie.
That brings me to a point.
Like, don't get me wrong, like I feel like the movie was really well done. Personally, it was not my favorite. Like y'all know what my favorite is. It's the last one we're gonna cover. Not gonna tell y'all, but like for me, like I can understand where it was coming from, but like it didn't do it for me.
Okay, I get that. I get why you could see like, oh, why are we going back and forth? This is crazy. This is stupid. But all I have to say is that no matter what, you have to watch it and you got to understand that Tim Curry is a genius.
Yeah.
But the funniest character, and I just have to go on my little soapbox, Mrs. White is the best character in that movie and probably one of my favorites of any movie ever. She's funny to me. Everything she says. When they ask what happened to her husband, and she was like, "Oh, he just lies on his back all day because he's dead." Oh my goodness, it's so great. It's so good.
I just now tuned into that, and I watched this like 2 hours.
I thought you were going to go into it and what a lovely Miss Scarlett had to say.
I thought he was. I really thought he was like a drunk or something that just like laid there.
No, he's dead because because he cheated with Yvette, the maid, and that's why she killed, and that's why Miss White killed Yvette. And one of the
Justified.
endings.
Yeah.
But right, I would have killed her twice. You know.
It's just fair.
But that's why. But my favorite Mrs. White moment is. It's at the end when he's going back and forth with all the things, and he keeps scaring Mr. Green, which is also really hilarious. He keeps using Mr. Green as his little dummy.
Yeah.
And he's like, then he threw him into the bathroom, and he throws him into the bathroom, and he's like,
"Can you please stop that?"
And then right when he says that line, or not that line, it was another one. It was another one where he was like, "Can you stop it?" And he screams it right in Miss White's face, and Miss White doesn't even look at him, and she just goes, "Ah!" It's the funniest thing I've ever witnessed in my entire life. She's the reason I wake up.
I have a picture of her on my bedstand. I love you, Miss
And she was like, and when she was explaining how her husband was found dead, she was like, "Yeah, he was found with his head cut off and his, And then all 3 of the men in the scene go from sitting like this, and they just, that scene is so good. That cracks me up more than anything. Mrs. White is my savior.
No, it was an extremely funny movie. I'm not even gonna lie. Like, I was watching bits of it and I was like, whoa, that was a twist, but like a funny twist.
Yeah.
But that's what it's all about. It's just like all these movies have the twist endings, which I'm totally here for all of them. I love twist endings.
Me too.
Well, speaking of twist endings, The Usual Suspects is a 1995 film directed and co-produced by Bryan Singer and written by Christopher McQuarrie. It stars Stephen Baldwin, Gabriel Byrne, Benicio del Toro, Kevin Pollak, Chaz Palminteri, Pete Postlethwaite, and Kevin Spacey. Its actors have won 2 Academy Awards and was voted as the 35th greatest screenplay of all time by the Writers Guild of America. The story is led by the interrogation of Robert Verbal Kent, a small-time con man who is the one of only 2 survivors of a massacre and fire on a ship docked at the port of Los Angeles. Let's see what brings the mystery with this film.
The greatest trick the devil ever pulled was convincing the world he didn't exist.
All right, you all know the drill.
And that was how it started. The 5 of us being brought in on a trumped-up charge to be leaned on by half-wits.
Number 1, step forward.
It didn't make sense that I'd be there. I mean, these guys were hardcore hijackers.
Answer my question. Can you hear me in the back? Hello?
What the cops never figured out, and what I know now, was that these men would never break, never bend over for anybody.
You gonna charge me?
You don't put guys like that into a room together.
Let's get back to that truck.
Who knows what can happen?
I figure we owe it to ourselves to salvage a little dignity. Me and Fenster heard about a little job.
My employer requires your services, gentlemen. 1 job, 1 day's work. Very dangerous.
Close quarters, 10, maybe 20 men. Anybody who goes in there is not coming out alive.
Is there a problem?
I want to know why. 27 men died on that pier for what looks to be $91 million worth of dope that wasn't there.
This isn't life's in danger. He saw the devil.
Kaiser Soze!
He mentioned Kaiser Soze. Who? Who's Kaiser Soze?
Press 20. Do it now.
There is no Kaiser Soze.
You never knew. That was his power.
He was in the harbor killing many men.
You mention his name again, I'll kill you right now.
How do you shoot the devil in the back?
A gift from Mr. Soze.
You got my whole life in here. Everything I've ever done since I was 18.
Everybody I've ever worked with at that time.
Keaton always said, I don't believe in God, but I'm afraid of him.
He's here.
Well, I believe in God. And the only thing that scares me is Kaiser Soze. And like that, he's gone.
So wasn't this movie just a fire? Because I just wanted to extinguish it.
Wow. I disagree 112%. It is not a fire. I mean, it is fire, but it's not a fire that I want to distinguish. It's a fire that I was shook about, actually.
No, it was all over the place. But I was like, because I didn't know. I'd only heard of this movie when we decided to do it on this episode. I never heard anything about it. Only person I knew that was in it was Kevin Spacey, and I'm familiar. But
with the names that I could barely pronounce.
Especially recently, that's another thing. But it was, I don't know, I really liked it. I really liked the ending, especially. Because the whole time, it's just, it kind of loses me at some points. But I kind of like the whole idea of everybody. It's just all this mobs and stuff like that. I'm always into mobs and hidden stuff like that. But
I'm always into guys killing other guys.
Yeah, that too. That's what I'm saying. Mobs are cool.
I'm really into that.
I agree. And it's really just the ending that I didn't even expect. In fact, I almost stopped the movie before it even happened. The main ending. I maybe had about a few minutes left in the movie. I was like, I think it's
where
done
he convinced him that it was Keaton.
Yeah, I was convinced it was Keaton. Keaton was what was What was the main?
Kaiser Soze.
Kaiser, yeah. So like we think, Keaton was Kaiser. I was like, makes sense to me. I'm like, sounds good. I'm about to click it. I'm like, I got a few minutes. What's up? And then I just watched it, and then I'm like, oh my God, I'm so glad I didn't stop it. And then Kevin Spacey, he's walking with his lip, and all of a sudden, regular old walking.
Oh, that's the best part of the movie. It's at the very end where he's walking off and then limp, and then it turns into a...
Yeah,
and then his driver...
after all.
And his driver was actually...
That guy. I don't know his name.
Yeah, I forgot it because it was the bottom of a mug. It was a mug company. But
yeah, I really liked it, though. I think the ending was great, though. And then, of course, the ending has me like... I'm thinking everything. I'm like, I guess that makes sense. Because when he was telling the story to that detective, he pretty much made most of it up.
I'm not gonna lie. First of all, the ending I knew was gonna be. I was like, Kaiser's not gonna be real, but I don't know who it's gonna be.
Right.
And I went through every single one of the people in the movie. I went through all the suspects and was like, I bet it's him. Nope, I bet it's him. Nope, I bet it's him. Like, I swore Benicio del Toro's character.
Love him.
Of course, and I forgot his name. Fenster.
Yeah.
I thought it was him, and then he died, and I was like,
well,
oof.
That rolled that one out.
I guess not.
Because it already had a twist to it. I was like, oh wow. I was already surprised. Like, it was Keaton. That makes sense.
Yeah, I was already satisfied.
I was already satisfied. That's why I was about to end the movie. I'm like, that's a good one.
But then I know how the criminal justice system works, and I knew that the cop wasn't right.
I knew.
No, but to be 100% honest, like when I watched it for the first time through, like I kept getting lost. Like,
yeah.
Something like about when I was watching it, I could tell that something wasn't quite right. Like I felt like I don't want to say like it wasn't authentic because they did it in the flashback style, which kind of really helps with, trying to make it seem like, oh, this is actually what happened and stuff like that. So like they do sell you on the story pretty well, but like the most interesting part to me, and I agree with Lizzie here, it was the ending because like I'm just sitting there, I'm watching it, I'm like, okay, cool, guy goes home. Like that was probably the most boring movie I've ever seen. Sorry.
But my goodness.
But let me keep going. And then like I'm about to like click off of it just like Lizzie, and then all of a sudden the guy looks up and I'm like so my friend was even sitting next to me and I was talking out loud and I was like, what is he looking at?
What's going on?
I'm like, what is he looking at? And then it shows the board and I'm like, okay, what is he looking at? And then it started highlighting each of the names.
We hear the voiceover of the story being told and all the names and he's finding, just like looking around.
And I'm like, the dude literally made a story based on random words on a billboard in the room that he was in. And I was like, that is beautiful. That was a genius. Like, I've never seen a movie do that before. That was a genius plot twist at the very end. So that's what really caught me with the movie.
I so totally see you there. Because first of all, as someone who is a fan of the entire movie, and I did not get lost or bored while watching it, because I was just like, I love all these characters. I want all of them to win, even though they're all trash. Like,
right.
Like I love the fact that first of all, they were all brought in because they accidentally stole important parts that were supposed to go to like something in Pakistan.
The delivery truck that ended up being stolen, and then they were all brought in for the lineup.
The lineup.
Yeah, that's what it's called.
I love the quote that they made them read because some of them took it uber seriously. Some of them
which we cannot repeat.
Yeah.
As much as it breaks
Stephen
my
Baldwin's
soul.
character. McManus, I think that's what it is. McManus, I think, is what it was, but whatever his name was.
I believe it.
I loved his interpretation of that quote. And you knew, also, fun little fact, that scene, the lineup scene, improvised by all those actors.
No way!
Yeah, they were all given that line right there, and they did it.
I love that.
I know, right? Stephen Baldwin, I hated him on Celebrity Apprentice, and I was like, I don't like him. Then I watched him in this, and I fell in love with him.
Doesn't he have the prettiest eyes, though? I'm sorry.
We're not talking about eyes yet.
When we first see him in the lineup, and then he like looks up, I was like, whoa. Right. I was like, I forgot how pretty his eyes were. That's unrelated, but I was like, wow. And then Benicio del Toro, I love him, and he's also going to make a cute little, well, not really an appearance. He's a good little part in the next movie that we're going to get into.
He's like the main antagonist of one of the parts.
Yeah, he's definitely a huge antagonist. So, I mean, I love him too. He didn't stick around too long, and he had that thick accent, so everybody's like, what? What are you saying?
What? What are you selling?
English, sir.
But I like it. And, you know, speaking of the movie that Benicio del Toro starred in, this next film, so this comic book-based noir movie, Sin City, was released back in 2005 and really was one like no other. The director of this film, Frank Miller, actually wrote the 3 original comics that the film was based off of. Miller's finished product was Sin City, a black and white film with some specific colors added throughout for various effects. Altogether, this movie brought Frank Miller's graphic novels to life, of course, with the help of actors like Jessica Alba and Bruce Willis. Check out the trailer for Sin City.
Sin City will be shattered. Let the girl go.
You know who my father is? You can't do a thing to me, Hardigan.
There'll be a risk. There'll be death. Nothing can stop this. Time to prove to your friends that you're worth a damn.
We'll fight the cops and the mob. We'll go to war.
This isn't some barroom, bro. This is the bad days, the all or nothing days. They're back.
You're making a big mistake. Yeah. You already made a big mistake yourself. A hardtop with a decent engine, and make sure it's got a big trunk.
So, did this city have enough sin for you?
Yes.
There was quite a bit of sin.
This was the one movie out of the 3 that I'm not going to absolutely tear apart because.
Which is weird. This is the weirdest one.
I know. Like.
Oh wow.
Because I was even texting you last night. Like, this movie, even though it was weird, it kept me intrigued because it wasn't the same story being told over like a 2-hour period. It was like 4 or 5 different stories that somehow were connected together, which that's what the appeal was to me.
Yeah.
Although I will say, Kevin's eyes in this movie gave me nightmares last night.
Elijah Wood, who
that was terrifying. You
said Kevin's eyes, but I was more scared by Becky's eyes, the traitor. She also plays Penelope in that one movie, Penelope with the
blue eyes?
Oh God, we don't talk about
that. The blue eyes?
Yeah, I know, but I don't know the actress's name.
I think the gray eyes that just consistently stare at you and are like reading every bit about you is a lot more creepier than the soft, somewhat soft blue eyes.
Yeah.
No, I disagree because it's the only color on the screen, and you're just like, oh God.
Yeah, because it is all black and white with like it's really nice. So they're like certain colors they want you to see, and it's
like
really
blood.
Yeah, but blood's different colors, which is kind of
white
neat.
For the most part.
It's white, like when Bruce Willis is first hurt in like the first segment, and then other times like it's straight up red. I guess that has a different meaning to it. You know, when the blood was white, he didn't die, but most of the time when the blood was red, I think they ended up dying. Don't quote me on
I think it was the other. I think it was the
Yeah.
other way around because
Maybe, 'cause I
I'm
knew there was
pretty
some
Yeah,
sort of
because
symbolism
Marv
to that.
was covered in red blood.
Right.
And he didn't die until he got electrocuted. Did he really die though? I've never
He
read
didn't die the first time.
No, but did he really die at all though? I have a feeling
They just
that
kept getting back
he's
up.
gonna come back in
Yeah.
a different.
No, but like
Because there is a sequel. Didn't watch, but
the stories within it though, like I'm gonna say I'm pretty sure it was 4 different timelines that they covered.
I saw 3.
it was
Tell me I
3
saw 4.
timelines, but they did 4 sections because the one with Bruce Willis was in 2 different sections, but it was the same story.
So one thing that I did appreciate is even though like yes, we do get like essentially 3 different characters. Like you get Marv, the big buff guy who goes out to, the club.
Yeah.
And then you get, the officer, and then you also get, what was the third one? I'm so sorry.
Bruce Willis's character was the last one.
And then Bruce Willis's, yes. So like you figure out.
He was the first and the last.
So you figure out like the little girl that he saved is the person that like later on in life
Is Jessica Alba's Nancy?
is the one that Marv's obsessed with, and then later on.
No, Marv's obsessed with. He's not obsessed with Nancy. He's obsessed with Goldie, the one with the twin.
Well, in the intro, makes it sound like he's obsessed with Nancy.
Oh yeah,
right.
But,
Sorry,
Cordelia.
Like at the beginning, at the beginning of the second one, Marv is connected to Nancy, and then at the very end, they end up at the farm that.
Yeah.
Where people were.
Well, for the most part,
yummy.
Like I was following the whole time, and for the most part, it's a crazy kind of weird movie, but I figured so when I saw the directors, and it was like Quentin Tarantino, special guest director. I was like, oh, awesome. I was like, I love a lot of the stuff that Quentin Tarantino puts on, so I was like,
Same.
I think I'll definitely probably like this, and I did. I liked how interesting and like unique it was, and then. At that one part where I was like, it was when that yellow guy comes. Because before I knew he had any attachment to the story, I did not, because I didn't recognize who he was. I was like, what is that?
I thought he was an alien.
Movie?
Yeah.
I was like,
I know.
What
I was
is
like,
the sci-fi week? Hello.
And then he's like, do you remember my voice? And then I was like, why are you yellow?
Right, though. That never was really
his
explained.
reconstruction.
It was the reconstruction surgery of the bottom half.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
But
that turned him yellow.
What an interesting choice, yeah.
It was a choice.
It was just the makeup that was weird for me.
I just need to talk about.
It looked like the Grinch accidentally. It looked like the Grinch and Shrek accidentally fell into a pool of bleach.
Yeah.
And that's what that character looks like.
Yeah, pretty much.
The Shrek did a Pepsi commercial. Michael Jackson.
Oh no.
Jokes. But I need to talk about the prostitutes that run that side of the town.
Oh my gosh!
Oh my God! I was not expecting
and
that.
Becky was a snake.
And even the cops got in that area, and they're like, "Not touching that."
The cop did a U-turn.
I'm out. Because all those girls were like, "What's up? Is there trouble?" And he's like, "No."
Rosario Dawson, first of all, is amazing. She did this role justice. Also, Miro, is that her name? The girl with the
Asian girl.
Yes.
Yeah.
She killed me. Was she really Asian though? She didn't look Asian.
She was like, she was mostly white. Maybe had like an Asian great-great-grandmother.
It was in there somewhere, maybe.
But she knew how to use them swords. Oh my goodness.
Oh man.
Can we just talk about?
She turned Benicio del Toro's character, Jack. Turned him into a Pez dispenser.
That's right.
That's my favorite description.
Me too.
She's like,
so good.
She didn't quite finish the job. She made him into a Pez dispenser.
Oh my god. It was so good. That's also another thing I need to talk about in this movie is the narration.
Right.
I mean, if you're gonna have a noir movie, oh my goodness, this is quintessential. Okay, I don't know if you have seen Spider-Verse or Into the Spider-Verse.
No, I have not.
Well,
not yet.
there's a version of Spider-Man in it, Noir Spider-Man.
Oh.
It's exactly like this. There's always wind blowing wherever that character is. Like his jacket's always blowing in the wind. It's played by Nicolas Cage. Couldn't you see Nicolas Cage in Sin City?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh for sure.
To be honest,
all those
I
like
feel
outrageous characters, that's Nicolas Cage.
The very last segment, the segment where like he was like my warrior, like the warrior princess segment, I guess is the best way to, because I can't remember his name. He was just like, Nick Cage would fit in really well in that specific scene.
I agree completely. But, you know, that's where we got to end it there, is with Nicolas Cage, who is in none of these movies. But you know who's going to be in next week's episode? Jack Nicholson.
Ooh.
Because they're going to be reviewing As Good as It Gets, One Flew Over the Cuckoo Nest, and Chinatown.
Yes.
So tune in next week on The Verdict.